So allegedly, he decides, hey, if you can't beat him, join him. And by he, I mean Paul Heyman. He shows up and does commentary on Raw, and a lot of the boys didn't know that this was the end, and that now Paul had went and worked for the Big Bad Empire. That probably had to make a lot of the guys who had been hearing the sermons for years and years about how you don't want to go there. They don't know what to do with you. You know, they're this big corporate monster. It's not real wrestling. You know, they won't let you be you. You're going to be a prisoner. And now he's on TV. A lot of the guys probably feel a certain type of way about that. Do they not?
Yeah, because all of a sudden, you know, their fearless leader is on WWE TV extolling the virtues of the WWE and doing everything that he had preached to them not ever to do, because you have to believe in your brand and you have to be able to sell ECW, and ECW, sir, is the only thing that matters, and we will not sell out to the corporate bigwigs. And they hadn't even shut the doors and Paul was on our TV. So I think there was a lot of buzz of kind of, you know, what the fuck. So
Rob decides, okay, Paul's there. I need to call him and see if he can help me get in. Paul says, that's great. I'll call JR and call you right back. And when he calls him back, he says, you got to meet Jim at the LAX Marriott because they think you have a reputation for being hard to get along with. And that probably goes back to him refusing to do a job for Jesse James in 97. Right, Bruce?
I'm not really privy to the conversation that Paul and JR had. However, I would say that Rob was painted with that brush from back at that time with the Jeff Hardy incident. And people did think that, okay, well, you know what? It was Rob, it was Sabu, it was Paul, and they were difficult to deal with at that time. So most felt that it was probably Paul stirring that pot. At the same time, you've got to be able to look Rob in the eye and say, what do you want to do? Do you want to do business and work with us? And probably JR was out in LA, and it was a good opportunity because that's where Rob lived. Get them together and talk. And I can see JR saying, well, I need to look him in the eye and just let him know we ain't going to have none of this ECW shenanigans. And I can see Paul kind of, you know, sticking that there, you know, to say, you know, Rob, they put doubt in Rob's mind too.
Rob winds up signing a 3-year contract, but he's a little concerned about what they're going to do with him. Are they going to change his name, create a new character? But none of that happens. Instead, he debuts on July 9th, 2001, and this is the famous invasion angle. He gets there, Tommy Dreamer's there, and throws him the ECW shirt, and ta-da, they're representing ECW, and the alliance was born. Were there any other ideas kicked around for bringing in Rob as maybe a different character or a different name, or how was he able to use this the way he was?
No, timing was right. Timing was right because of the invasion. We realized that we needed, first of all, we needed the ECW guys. We needed more people with name recognition. We didn't get that from WCW. The big names were still under their AOL Time Warner contracts. Rob Van Dam being available, to us, that was the biggest ECW name that was available out there. So keep his name, keep his persona, and paint him with that ECW brush that we were trying to paint. So, no, we wanted to bring in Rob Van Dam.
Now, of course, the ECW locker room is a lot different than the WWF backstage area, the whole situation. And Rob admits that he never really got used to the way ECW compared to the WWF. He was never really comfortable with the WWF because a lot of times they've got a call time of like 1 o'clock and the show doesn't actually go on the air until 8. So you've got like this whole day here, and that was really not the way it happened in ECW. What do you think is the other biggest difference between the two locker rooms?
Probably not having to piss in a bucket. Structure. People having to be responsible for their actions, a lot. I mean, the rumor, and that's strictly going on rumor and innuendo. The pissing in the bucket is something I did witness at my one and only ECW show that I ever went to, but it was completely different. There was structure to it, and you had to be on time. You had to do certain things. There were certain things that were expected of you, and you know, it's funny when people say, oh, I got to get there at 1 o'clock. The reason you have to get there at 1 o'clock is there's a lot of other things that are going on besides your one match. The .com may need you, production may need you, there's pre-tapes to be done, there's a lot of things that need to get done throughout the day. And if you're searching for people or having to adjust the schedule for one person or two people, it makes it difficult. So you've got a lot of production stuff to do, and we need everybody there on time.
So let's talk about his early run here, because he's on the July 17th SmackDown teaming up with Billy Kidman to defeat X-Pac and Jeff Hardy. And a few days later, it's the Invasion pay-per-view in Cleveland, and he has a barn burner of a match with Jeff Hardy, and he actually wins the hardcore title. So you guys are pushing him and featuring him right away. Tell me what the feeling on Rob is when he comes in and is immediately met with a big push and a huge pay-per-view match with Jeff Hardy.
Well, looking at the group of talent coming in, here's a young, good-looking guy with a lot of talent in Rob Van Dam, and wanted to do something with him. Vince liked him, and just, you know, let's start him and let's introduce him to our audience and let's build him from there. So it was Vince's way of an introduction and see what we've got from here.
So let's talk about that match, the Invasion pay-per-view. It's something that people still talk about to this day. What'd you think of this Rob and Jeff Hardy match here?
Well, I'm not a big fan of hardcore matches, but I think that when you do it well and it is something that you get that holy shit moment in there, both Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam, they put everything on the line every time they go in the ring. So it was two young guys going out fighting to get over, and you felt it and you saw it, and it was pretty damn incredible, if you ask me.
Is it fair to say that the hardcore title was always sort of positioned as sort of a joke, a funny ha-ha belt, except when Rob had it? It felt like when Rob had it, he was just working ECW matches. You know, the next night on Raw, he beat Matt Hardy in a hardcore match, and he sandwiched him inside of a ladder, and then 5-star frog splashed the ladder. I mean, that's some stuff he would have done in ECW, and I feel like some of the other times it was more funny ha-ha.
No, I don't think it was really funny ha-ha. I think that it was, God, we introduced it with Mick Foley in a whole angle with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it was something that was different, and it was a way to be able to have those type of matches and make those matches mean something if you're fighting for a championship versus just having a hardcore match to have a hardcore match.